Hi everybody, I'm Jess, your go-to Road to Kingdom analyst, and we are here with the first challenge of episode 2 of Road to Kingdom Season 2 Ace of Ace. It is the K-pop boy group versus, so we have the Stray Kids grouping as well as the Enhypen grouping we're going to look at. We're going to look at the full cams. We're not looking at the camera op versions because they are performing in front of a live audience, and so we're going to get the same vantage point that the audience members will get, and that is how I'm going to contribute in my feedback. So we have the actual performances as well as the originals live cams if we do have those, so we can do a really good comparison between the arrangement and the choreographic influence between the two. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Unite with Bite Me.
It's you and me in this world. Again, the show excitement. We're cool like ATBO. Just come kiss me and your voice on the road. Never tried to listen to me scream. It's a little more ahead of me. Don't get each other in the dreams. Don't listen to me next to me.
Nice. Just took him out.
It's you.
Oh, does he have wings on? And gotta wait, make sure it's the end. Okay, so then you can, okay. Got it. All right. I got Bite Me and Enhypen. They also get a full cam, so we're gonna see how they do it too. Let's go. I have not analyzed this.
It's you and me in this world. We can't lose your time. Just go kiss me and bite me. Your eyes on memory. Never tried to mess up on the screen. 이제 나를 뭐라 해야 돼. 오늘 우리 다시 보여내지. 난 bad 나를 뭔가 dreams. 돌아서 waiting next to me. 잠시 추진 나의
my god. That gives Gen 2, like old Gen 2. That part, like TVXQ old. I don't want to bite you. Thank you though. Oh, was this the controversial choreo that I was hearing? Because they were dancing with girls. I heard about that. Okay. So I'm actually impressed with myself with the fact that I got a really good full cam. Because it's a similar outfit too. Oh my god. No. I like the trace into the grab, actually. That was kind of fun. This choreo is not that bad. If this is in fact the one that people were upset about, I have seen much worse that these boys, not in Enhypen, but I've seen boy groups have to do. And we didn't bat an eye with them? Come on. Cool. Dope. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go ahead and watch the verses because the audience had to vote after both, not per performance. So we're gonna go ahead and go straight into A turn. It's wild, right? Ooh, future perfect.
Just do as you're told. You have to try new things all the time.
Tradition is there for a reason.
You're not creative, just an attention.
You don't have to be the center of attention all the time.
Not everyone was born to shine.
싫은데? Ooh. So his mic's on. I'm ready. They're already doing what I was wanting, which was their live. That was my biggest no. I wanted to see them live, and now we get it. Thank you. Oh, okay, I know the song now.
Look at me, 포기할 리가 없지. 오히려 dance, 지적해요. 넌 도와줬지 나의 miss. What did you say? 질문에 대답은 언제나 real. 그냥 꺼져, 자격을 노는 나는 없어. 네가 우리 속에 난 바보짓을 건드렸어. 이제서야 알게 됐어. Give me that mic, 이거 day one.
like the costume change on that. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, here we go. Got it right here. Cool. All right, so if I'm going off of, make sure that's the end. Okay, it is. If I'm going off of just initial viewing, I think if I was in the audience and I were to vote between the two, I think I would vote for Unite if I knew Enhypen's tracks like this. And we're gonna dive into it. Here we go. From the top. So it is surprising. Here's the thing. I'm a Christian. I have a relationship with Jesus, and so for me, anytime I see like satanic kind of imagery, which this is what we're going to call it. It is satanic imagery because demonic, because you have cross affiliation, light and darkness, you have a literal demon-like figure in one of the shadow things. And so it's very surprising that I'm going to vote for this one over 8 turns, right? Especially me putting 8 turn at the top for intro stages, right? But also remember, I go off of, here's the challenge. Here's what the normal expectations, which are very safe to assume expectations going in, we're dealing with here. If we have as objective as possible fan base represented in this space, where you have X amount of people who are fans of certain groups in there for the live voting, and you have just like a regular pool, who would people vote for? For me, I think when you're dealing with Enhypen, they have a heavy lore, right? Vampires. So if you're going to use a track that like Bite Me, I think is super lore based, because vampires bite, right? So they couldn't go with that because it would be too predictable for Enhypen and wouldn't deviate enough. But what's so fascinating too, as a side note, I find it interesting that both YOUNITE was able to find something like this. This is very different than what YOUNITE has done. It is a different concept in their discography. A-Turn, they stayed on brand with who they are as a group, and they were able to pick a song. The fact that Enhypen has both is impressive on their discography to begin with. Do I think they're overworked? Yes, I do. And it kind of low-key takes the fun out of analyzing their stuff sometimes, because part of the feedback that I would give them is they're so exhausted, they can't fix it because they're just trying to make it, is really what it feels like on some of their stuff. So that's really all we're going to talk about with Enhypen, but I do find it surprising that there's a lot of really captivating elements of this. I'm just personally, as a human, I'm not a fan of demonic conversion, in my personal opinion. But if we're going off of character and storyline development of what we've caused, I understand. Like, it's very complete. Is we're gonna keep it more so streamlined to that. So from the top, I also feel that out of the two, they reworked this one. I mean, both of them didn't rework them so much so that it felt like a completely different song. But I do feel like YOUNITE was able to, they had some really interesting choices. And side note, both of them did not have like a camera in your face. They tailored this to their live audience, which is a huge shout out. We're 2 for 2 on that. I'm pretty shocked. It's the first time we've had a kingdom where they have an audience. So it's very different. So if some people are like, oh, these stages are underwhelming, well, yeah, because they're not sitting there really focusing on camera work that you're able to pull off in Road to Kingdom Season 1 and in Kingdom Legendary War. So we got to keep that in mind as well. These are great stages for what the competition is. It's giving similar isms to like Queendom for me, and in a good way. Like, I'm really happy with it. Okay, got fog coming on both sides. We got some LEDs setting the tone on this, writing some stuff out. It's so interesting. Like, they're really on brand with costuming, just like A-Turn is with the other one, which is so wild to me. Anyway, so the subtlety here he presents, and this vibration is really nice. Honestly, I like that. And then, of course, you have the LED being utilized where it feels like we're like trapped. Honestly, it feels like we're trapped in a sane asylum. So there is a chance that maybe we can go with a smidgen, like there's some disconnects. I'd say the LED is disconnected to what they've presented, that like not Catholic, but like a Catholic church kind of sound with the organ, right? And the little cross in the back and the white versus the black. I think maybe changing this to like a corrupt stained glass, maybe. I don't know. So maybe that's my first note I'll give to that right there. Very impressed, honestly, the fact that he can hold a vibration for that long, because a vibration is considered the sprint of the technique. Where having to hold this for an extended period of time, it's not made. That technique's not really made for that. So shout out to him for being able to hold it that long. Then that like a breath out. I do feel like he did have kind of an anticlimactic finish, and I do understand that we're going from something so strange to maybe just how he was able to reset here in his character presentation was it felt more like, I don't know, it didn't feel like I'm drained, it just felt like I'm just resetting. So maybe it's so subtle. These are very, very subtle notes. So there's little reaches. I really like the dancers in this kind of, you know, draping. They also went with male dancers when Bite Me originally has female dancers. So that's an interesting change and difference. So this is interesting. So you have your YOUNITE members, and then of course have the little bedazzle fits, and then you have your dancers. So they keep the same harmonic kind of sound, right? Or melodic, it's melodic sound. And so right here, they're melting, they're kind of, you know, tracing and draping through, which is cool. And the little drop throughs, that little bite, so they're taking, okay, well, let's rework it. So he's lifting his hand, they're all grabbing him, and there's the reset, boom, with the arms up. And this right here, this does feel we're trying to tie. I wonder if they picked the LED choice because of, if you're looking here, it feels very similar, right? So that's interesting. We also got to think through, I don't think they can pick just any LED, whatever they want, because they can, Mnet can run into copyright issues with that if they're picking imagery that somebody else owns. So I do know there's probably, they have some limitations, whoever's on the direction side for these groups on those kinds of things. So we're going to chalk it up to that. So you have this, it's definitely giving like, we're here to take you. So now we're in like this foggy enchanted forest. We're here for it. So everybody's kind of launched over, kind of crazed over. He goes through, he says, welcome. And then from here, you let the dancers do what they need to do. They go, they take him, they kind of like engulf him in the formation. Very nice and clean in that. It's very, it doesn't feel labored. So that's really nice. We love that. He moves forward. So I like that little pulses, that boom, boom, boom. The dancers are catering to that sound, which is really nice to see. Then they go out in, and then you have some of them that are more in the center, and then they're looking at their hands, so I like that. And also having the dancers have like full mask is also a really dope choice, because the dancers are able to really focus on their hands more so than their face. So that's cool. And then with the YOUNITE members, you see their face, because that's really the only thing that you see, because they're bedazzled, which is cool. It's interesting. And that right there, it sounds like a scratching sound, like a so they interpreted that pretty dope. That was kind of cool. Then from here, I like the fullness of that with the bass, and then they use that to build. So honestly, seeing the dancers have like this lower pulse about it as well allows it to travel or naturally showcase your feature, because he's the only one not creating that tension that the other dancers are showcasing, which is cool. So they bring it up, which is also really nice. So he's here, and then they go and present, and then we have the subtlety. I like the little body roll on that too. And then they switch it up. Now, I do like the transition of the LEDs from the forest into the ravens or these crows with the same similar like color grade and color scheme, this fogginess about it. It's cool. We're here for it. So they reset down. So they go. I like the connection. The transitions with the dancers into the members is really nice. I will say my one note, maybe it's better live, but on camera, it is hard to see some details, especially the wings at the end. Really hard to tell. I just had to assume until it blacked out, or until it went to the Ace of Ace. We got to really see it there. So that's my note there. But also because the dancers are in black and the members are in black but bedazzled, different textile, which helps, which I appreciate, but there it's hard to tell sometimes where your members are. But is the point the members are the dancers and you have your feature member in white? Is that the point? Maybe. If so, they did a great job. If not, that would be my note, is to have more distinguishable features, maybe a subtly different, like entertained color, maybe that would help with that. But it's so minimal, like that's not even a critique or anything. That's just a personal preference. I want it to be easier for me to find the members, especially if you're looking general public who don't know them. But they still do a pretty good job nonetheless. I can still find them, so that's fine. It's just literally the camera, but the wave on that with the connection is nice. So that right there, so it's like he's about to get sacrificed is what it feels like to me. Do I prefer that? I don't want anybody to go through that. But anyway, we're gonna let them do their thing. So he's here, his hand is up, and then you have everybody with their arms. Some nice. It definitely gives like where the little speed change on this, boom, and they kind of hover over. And then I like the color palette in the LEDs to shift as well. It's really nice. And you have your dancers down below. He's up on the table. Reach up, and I like this little orchestra boom boom build up on this is really cool. And then you have another dancer coming up on the top, and then the boom 1 2 3 is cool. So he grabs, and it definitely feels like he's about to get like sucked in or like taken into the underworld. Maybe it feels like that. He goes down, up, down, and then he takes it that da 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 da, and then they definitely using the dancers to make it feel like the members are continuing to get engulfed, but only the member in white, so our leader, I believe, right? Only our leader is the one where he is being taken forcefully. The rest feel like they're already a part of it, which could reinstate the fact that they just went different textile to pay tribute to Enhypen, but they went with, honestly, what they did is exactly what Enhypen's dancers to them are. So we're going to leave it at that. I think that's fine. Absolutely fine. I like that, da-da-da-da-da-da, so go down, so that's nice, where you have them all, you have about 2 of them face one side and 1 face the other on both sides, so it's mirrored, it's balanced, it's nice, and then they pull, I love that little speed change with the chest integrated, it's nice, and then they switch up, so that's cool. So you have, of course, there's some things happening in the back, but because you have these dancers, like this is a really good example of if he had dancers doing this and not the members, then it would feel like a distraction. But because we have the members doing this, even though there's other things going on environmentally in the back, it doesn't feel like they're just dancing to buy time for the next phrase. Because there have been cases on Queendom 2 where I've actually brought this up because it was the opposite that we ended up seeing. I think it was with Brave Girls. It was one of their sets that I gave that note to. So this is an example of this works because you have your members showcasing to the audience, which is why they're there, not your dancers. So that's cool. So I like the switch. Switch is nice. So they go to the inside and then they go and they move. Dancers move out of the way. And then from here we have our feature moment. So he has a nice little dance break. Da 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 boom. And so it's a fun little, it is a fun dance break. He brings it over. It's honestly really impressive the fact that he's able to try some things on this in comparison to being on the ground. So good prop utilization. Da 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 boom. And I like the explosion on that. It's nice. The subtlety is cool. I will also, let me say this note though, because they flipped that table up, we're only going off of franchise. Whenever I make notes on it, feels familiar. It reminds me of ONEUS whenever they did their intro stage with the Joker card and how they ended up separating it. So going from a table to something standing, that's already been something imprinted on us as viewers. Now, the live audience has not seen the intro stages yet, so I don't think they're going to have that going in, but as somebody who is a virtual audience, that is something I think is okay to bring up. Do I think that they use this out of direct inspiration from that? I don't know. Can't do that. I'm not going to assume that's the case, but it may make sense as to why this may not feel as captivating on the utilization of the prop because we've already seen that done on the franchise already. So that's just a note. It's not even a critique. It's just something to be aware of observationally if you happen to feel that way. But from here, I do like the fact they're still using it. So that's nice. So the reach is fine. So he's reaching up. And then right here, we're back to now we have the crows and the forest. So I like that. So the LED sequences are really dope so far. Boom, boom in this world. So he's down. He's going through a tough time. He may need a hug and maybe a little bit of Jesus. But we know that's not the direction he's going in this music, in this dance. But it is what it is. Anyway, so we go here and the little reach. And this was subtly fixed pointed, which I like. And notice the stylized hands remind you of those branches. So I actually like the choice there. It's nice. And even on what they're going for, they're ending up, like, if I'm being real, how they switched up the choreo is very fitting for what they chose storyline to go off of. Maybe not storyline, but at least the environment that they've set. The choreo feels very fitting to it. It doesn't feel like we're covering Enhypen. I mean, the track's very iconic in the sense of what, if you've heard it, you've heard it. But they're doing a fantastic job on this. It's really cool. And they go slow, slow, and then dun, dun, up. So, yeah, and bringing it over. I like this with the subtle little trace with the throw. We're here for it. Honestly, I think I'd fit right in with what they're doing. They'd have to do very minimal things on me. Give me a couple Sharpies and we're good. Boom. Kiss me and bite me. Yep, so that's cool. And then right here, they hit this boom, that little boom. And there's our foreshadowing. We have wings on the LED. That little ha, 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 ha. And then you hear this little ha, ha. Ooh. So he comes up. Can I take him seriously if I'm being completely honest? Because he's in like a really bedazzled fit and he's trying to come across domineering. I personally can't. But I think his hair is dope. I think he looks awesome. They all look really cool. He also is, he has this little axe. Doesn't match his fit. That's my note there. The little boom boom. And I like, though, what they chose to do with the prop where it creates a nice little accent with his head. So that was nice. The two columns are cool. I like this little extra vibration that happened from our dancers. It ties together what happened in the very beginning with the vibration, which is nice. It goes push, push, and they pull it away, that little do-do-do-do, and then we go create a nice little bleed with the hands over, and he has this little moment. Angsty. For a dance break, I was expecting him to just spit some bars. But is that because I'm expecting him because he's the rapper of the group, or am I expecting that because of how he was introduced? Normally you would see somebody, it kind of dropped out a little bit. I'm expecting some vocals because it's a song, right? Or in his movement, it's not super full. It feels very much like he's supposed to be rapping, or he's supposed to be doing something outside of just what he's doing. So it does feel a little bit, what is it? What's the right way to put it? It's underwhelming, and I think that's why. So we're gonna call that what it is for me. Yeah, and they gets it over. So I like that. That's dope. That boom, 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 boom. That's sick. Really cool. Maybe it's because he also didn't utilize this axe nearly as much as you would for a dance break. It felt more like a charisma choice. But I would also expect some vocals because these are idol groups. So we got to keep that in mind. Yeah, that little, that's cool. And then he comes up. There's that boom. That's fine. So he has this moment. So look, now they're like, yeah, I'm assuming the dancers are just like the branches and they're like the tree trunks of the forest. It's kind of what we can come across as, which is dope. So they're there as helpers for the members to kind of convert him is kind of what's going on. That boom, boom. Cool. He hits it over. And then right here, that's breaking character, stepping off to step up. That's my note to him or whoever it was in charge of the transition direction on this. I think a more captivating way, maybe dragging him and then he's able to get up. It just feels like he's going like, okay, time for my next moment to be angsty and to be fearful, right? So that's when we especially just had a control moment like this. You would want his next move to also be, he does not have control over his choice. But here, he has full control. So he has that moment, push, the push-pull. I love the technique, like the texture of that and how they did it. I like the levels on that, really nice, and the levels where they progress it up. Really cool. But then he hits it, boom. He throws, so maybe it's like, did they let him go and he's trying to run or something? Not sure. That boom, boom, boom. BPM change, let's go. Now it's like, okay, now we're getting prepped in position. Remember, you're performing to a live audience. I'm so curious how this will look on camera. I'm not going to look at that until the actual episode. That's when I look at those normally. When I do analysis, we always do full cams. Oh my God, it's so fun that we get to do this. Anyway, but the reach over, I like that. So the lift is really nice and I like how the arms match. So my big qualm, or not my qualm, just my big note is making that transition more convincing, especially for a live audience. For camera, you probably didn't see it, which is fine. So they go, they have the rotation over, which is nice. They hit it down, up, and the little ding is cool. They hit that boom and boom, and they take the arms up and over, which is nice. Da 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 da. So I like how they peel it. Cool. They come up. I love these little speed changes that we're seeing through the tension, through those choices, which is also really nice. Then right here, this is a good example of what I just talked about as a note there that I want to see here. This is what we like, where we have your dancers, they're covering up the prop being used and they're making it a moment. Then you also have this moment over here, so regardless where camera is, it's always being shot. Now, I didn't see this the first time, but now we see this apple and we see this snake. If you've ever if you've ever read in the book of Genesis, it is the snake, Adam and Eve. So bite me, are we biting an apple to commit the first sin? Now, that is a nice little Easter egg to help me understand that more than what I was given. But I was already set up in a religious state of mind. Religious I will go with because of the type of sounds that are being played, in the timbres, the type of instrumentation that's being used, this imagery we're seeing here. I wonder, they took a different approach. Now it makes sense to me a lot more, where you have, it's bite me, bite an apple. Got it, right there. Do I think that maybe it would have been a interesting thing to workshop, introducing this idea earlier? Possibly, because I think I would have gotten there a lot sooner versus having to analyze it 2 minutes in after watching the original Enhypen, watching the competitors, and watching it the first time. You know, that would be my note there. Because I'm here, you have to be mindful. You can't just assume that the audience is just going to catch that, right? And I could still be wrong, and I think that's absolutely okay. That's the beauty of art, right? So the walks, I like how right there we're all matching the tempo on that, and you still have the snake right over there. We're walking. Beat change is cool. That boom hum yan. Come on over and bite me. Pinning it over. Now all this here. I do find it interesting. This is the second case that I will say this, where it feels like you have one person that is a major feature. Intro stage felt that way with your rapper, and then here it's your leader is now your feature moment, and now it just feels like they're like back up to whatever feature they have. Are they going to do that for all the challenges? Maybe that's just who they have as the choreographers for this. I'm very curious about the credits on who worked on these stages. Normally the episodes give credits, so I am very hopeful that I get to know that information. Unless you guys happen to know that already, you can let me know. That'll be cool. I have my guesses. I've already had videos talking about it. It wouldn't surprise me anyway, but I digress. Point still stands though. I personally wish that it felt more like a group versus there being backup for each other for each challenge. But that's just a personal note. I'm not going to dock them for that because that's not in the rules, right? Boom, da da dum. Yeah, that's fine. All this. It is a smidgen more unison than my personal preference for it, because when you have the dancers, it definitely enhances, which is really nice. But here, it kind of just feels like we just kind of copy pasted what they did earlier with the dancers setting up for a cool moment with our leader or the one in white. But here, it's just them, which is also fine. It just feels like movement, so that would be my note there. Ooh, that snake is snaking. Ooh. And a little subtlety is cool. Yeah, and bite me. Nice. Yeah, so all of that there is different. It feels like very different choreo, which I actually don't mind. Whenever you're going to choose, people are going to naturally compare your group to whatever group you're covering, and you want to make it your own. Sometimes changing the choreo to make it match the aesthetic you're going for is a good call, as long as the dynamics in which you're doing it are in play. So I still think it's tributing, but they're making their own lane with it, which is nice. It's a nice little angsty moment with the spotlight is cool. I love the hair color. And then we go and we open it up. And then right here we have the little light box, shadow effect. I've seen this many times. If you've seen America's Got Talent, I've seen this all the time. Now here's your hands. Now this also matches what's going on with the LEDs. Now personally, would my note be this, because it's yellow, gives a yellowy vibe. Could they have tried to not use a warm color for the light? Maybe go for like that stark white like we saw in the very beginning, maybe, or switch the LED color to match this. Then I would have connected the dots way faster. For me, whenever we see these hands on this kind of, you know, silhouetted vibe like you saw in the very beginning, which is like this little, you know, very beginning, I think it would have made more sense to me personally, but I don't mind it. I don't know what's easier or hard or whatever. So then you have the hands that go out, boom, boom, boom. He is sitting there getting like, they're pulling him on energy all the freaking time. So definitely his commitment to character is great. So the toss down is fine. And then right there's your cross. Then it goes hit up. A little da-da-da-da-da. I do think the hands could have been a little bit more of a vibration than just a jerk or just a throw, but that's a personal technique preference for me. Then right here, this makes me uncomfortable. I personally don't like seeing demon imagery, in my humble opinion, but that's my personal, me as a person, not the storyline. I understand right here. Now we have somebody coming in. This is technically the second time we're seeing a figure with a weapon coming to him. The first time was with our rapper, Day, right? Day, he came in right here in the middle, and he had an anticlimactic dance break is what it felt like. So for me, I may have give the note, unless it's a part of the explanation, which I will also give the note. I shouldn't have to have an explanation to get what's going on. That's my big note there. But into this, was that a foreshadow moment, or was Day this character? Maybe. I don't know. But given with the horns and all that, I'm assuming this is our demon character that is converting him or forcing him into the dark side, right? It's the Darth Vader of the religious sins, right? Anyway, but this is not the first time we've seen this imagery. Was that intentional? Was that whole section supposed to foreshadow to this moment, or was that a placeholder to kind of introduce this next section? I don't know. That does determine my note I would give for it, though. So this right here. And then you have this little angel. Okay. Is the angel supposed to protect or what? So from there, I don't quite know what has happened. Like, I don't know what the cause and the effect of all this is. All I see is this demonic character. You see him being, you know, taking it. It's like demon is now, has he beaten it? I don't know what the point of that section was. Were we converting? Did he beat the demon, have a little angel to guide or whatever? I don't know what ended up happening. We do know at the end, though, because I've already seen the end, that he ends up being like this black winged figure. Is he a fallen angel at this point? What is the point of that little section? I wish for more clarity there. That's my note. We'll stick by it. From there, we walk. Now he's barefoot, boom, boom. Now we're here, boom. Personally, for me, if he's already converted at this point, we have the wings at the end. I wish we had a cloak, or we had something, not just the wings and that at the very end, but have something showcasing he is now converted at this point. So that would be my costume note there. In this world, boom, boom. I let the little peel up. That was cool. And it's very unison, which is cool. And now look, you have the little crow stuff, you got the branches, the red with the cross, and now it feels like we're all tying it all together. Where's the apple? Where's the snake? So that would be my note there. Boom, and those done. Come and kiss me and bite me. Boom, 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 boom. I like the pulse on that. It's fun. I don't mind the unified sense here with the dancers, because we technically hadn't done that yet, but I do stand by whenever we see just the members the second time. I wish for more dynamic choices, because it's really cool in the verses, but when it was just them, it kind of felt like, okay, we're just doing course choreo. So that's my note that I'm still stand by there. So he's walking to the back. There's a lot of my feature that there's a lot of setups on. I wish that it was easier for me to not, what's the word? Those things need to be hidden a little bit better is my personal note. I did notice the first watch through, one of the dancers, they had to like do something to fix the back before they came back around. So that was my note there. I think the transition could have been smoother with them, but as I'm analyzing it, I didn't catch it. So jury's still out for that, but yeah. So he has this moment. So he's just kind of hanging out there. So that would be my big note for that, is that I don't want it to be like, okay, we're waiting. Something's going to happen soon because he stopped dancing to go prep for it. You don't want your audience to be aware of those choices. You want it to just happen, right? So now they're hinged over. Now, in battles, you would see people do this. You would see people do this. If you watched Wolf Lowe during Street Woman Fighter Season 2, you were seeing her do this, you were seeing her do this. Well, we're counting. This is a great example of, we've already seen this exact format. Maybe different order of our members, but we've already seen these dancers hover over in a huddle over our feature and then have your members in front. That, to me, we could have had a much more creative choice on this end or on the first end. I will hold it to that. And they go that da-da-da-da-da. I like the peel. That was nice. The bump, bump, bump. That's cool. I like the twinkling is nice. Boom, boom. Go to the inside. Boom. And then the wave. Now here, I like this build up. How they have it huddled is cool. Right wave happens. Left wave happens with a nice little accent on the tail end. Then both. Then they go da-da-da-da. And then they all go down. They're down. And he has this moment that that I'm waiting for, like, bum, 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 bum. I feel like Phantom of the Opera with that organ, right? Boom. So cool. We're here for it. And they're all done. So now he's what, like, converted at this point? Sweet. Honestly, if this cloak had the wings belted, like, on it, he should have had the cloak on first. And there is a way where you can have wings and you can have it as straps, and you put the straps on to showcase. Now, the transition to the wings was cool, but I think I was waiting for something to happen, though, so it wasn't as surprising as it could have been for me personally. So whether or not I will stay to picking Unite over A-Turn, it's going to come down to the analysis of A-Turn, because so far we found a lot of holes happening with Unite, but it did feel a smidgen complete. At least they went from top to bottom, kept with the light versus dark, with the religious twist on it, very much in that lens. Here, do as you're told. Definitely all the different things we've heard being said. They're like, hey, we don't like that. I'm assuming their fits have all these words being said. They're like, hey, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. You weren't born to shine. Firstly, who are you to say that to somebody? And secondly, you should look in a mirror, because if somebody has that type of mentality, to the audacity to say it about somebody else, you really need to look at yourself, and it could be a reflection of how you view yourself if you're going to project that onto other people. That's just my 2 cents. We're moving on. From here, he's like, shouldn't there? I don't want to. He hits it, and it breaks the LED. Now, he hits the front towards the audience when the LED breaks. Personally, I think it would have been cool if he did it to the back, so it looked like he caused the breakage to happen. So that's my little first thing. Just directionally, I feel like that would have been a really cool choice. Then they go, they're like, okay. So we're walking, getting ready. Now, A-Turn has way more density of content, so more complexity of their choreography in terms of the actual movements that they're doing, but the staging of it is a little bit simpler than what we were seeing from Unite. So it's really going to come down to how many more discrepancies will I find in A-Turns compared to Unites, and that'll determine the analysis, Jess, who would I vote for. I already said who I was if I was in the audience. Here we go. So the run, 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 it definitely feels like Sirens. It's giving Icon for me with their finals kind of performance, it to a certain degree, which is kind of dope though, but this one is way heavier in the movement quality. We're ready to go, boom. Yep, so all this definitely have different directions placed. They have a very similar case that I am giving to, that I gave to Unite when it comes to the coloring of the outfits, but I wonder if the reasoning behind this one, it feels a smidgen more clear, because they end up going really vibrant with the orange, which reminded me of Icon, that's why I say that. So this is maybe like conforming, right? With a lot of the baggage that comes with conforming. That's what this feels like in costuming, so I think that makes more sense so far. And the subtlety there, I like the little brushes on that. They pick it back out and up, which is nice. Done, da-da. So nice with the columns. So we have 4 columns going, 2 going front, 2 going to the back, and it feels very militant in nature, where we have this pulse, which is more of that snare pulse, where it's like we're walking on tempo, which we appreciate. So it definitely, even in the formations, it feels very much like we're conforming. So I like that they hit it over, and I like the little rush over. The walks are cool, the transition is nice, the switch to the back, and they go, they pick up, boom, 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 little cannon coming on in the back, and then they basket run off. Y'all know how I feel about basket runs. If you haven't, if this is your first video with me, buckle up. Anytime I see a basket run, I talk about it. Those to me are easier to hide, but they still exist and I still caught it. It is a distraction. It feels like we got to get out of frame quickly. It doesn't feel like you're tying into your concept effectively. I will always say that because that's how it makes you feel. The more you see it, the more you feel that way, because they don't. They could have done a different arm. They could have done something, but they chose to go with the chicken wing basket run like we always see, that we saw from the crew one from the intro stages. So I'm going to stand by that every time we notice it. Now, you have your members right here coming in hot. We love it. And there's your speed change, boom, ta-da, ta-da. This is dope. It's that sound, really intriguing sound, and they had a justified choice in that sound. So I appreciate that. They peel it from stage right to left, and it goes pulse, pulse is cool, and then they kind of turn out of it. Get it? Their A-turn. And they go have a nice little energy, peel it to the inside. Then he has this nice performance quality, boom, boom, and he hits it, and he throws over to the side. Just from the formations, having one of them kind of break away as a feature naturally makes us feel like we don't want to conform because of the type of track it is and how they tone set in the beginning. So that's something that I will say works in 8-turn's favor over UNITE, where I saw that snake and apple in about the middle of it. So I know there's like the snake is the deception, that's Satan, right? And then the apple is the sin, or like by eating of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, you eat it, you now become known, or you now have sinned, is basically what it is, because you defied God. That kind of imagery I saw across in the beginning of that one, but I didn't quite understand the depth of how far we were going until when I analyzed it and I saw that point. But here, I knew from the jump, there's combativeness, or if we don't want to listen to people and what the things that they say, they're like, I don't want to compromise to your standards, right? And then we're seeing that played out right here. So I would say, at least in their concept, they're playing it very well. I do think that their actual composition, though, is more similar to the original than UNITE. So I think UNITE has that going for them too. So there's like, it really feels it's going to be close. I would say out of a lot of challenges I've seen where they're like versus, this is a very close matchup, and I say that in a very encouraging way. Whoever wins and whoever loses, I hope it's close because it feels that way. Right? It's dope. Anyway, so they brought it over. So I like the energy in the pool. That is really cool. Okay, they throw it away. That boom, boom, boom. There's your freaking basket runs. God, I hate them. Sorry. That's very terrible verbiage. I heavily dislike the simplicity and standard of the basket run. They could totally vary it up. I understand the quickness of it. I even like the crossover, but it does not contribute environmentally to what they're doing. That's what I should have said instead of saying I hate it. I apologize. Anyway, was this cool? The little ball, and they hit it over, so that's fine. Theirs does give a little bit more music show vibe over We're on Kingdom conceptual vibe, which, you know, take what you wish on that. That's gonna be a preference thing. That's whatever. Then they go a little hit, up, so with the throw. They reset, boom, hitting over, boom, boom. They bring it up. You have a single, then you have the double, and you have the members go, and then the rest of the dancers join. They hit it up, hit, and they pulse it. Boom with the head. It's a cool choice. All that there. I do wish for more. Wish for more levels. This is the third time we're seeing a basket run. Now, I do know if Team I Am is here. Team I Am consists of former Just Jerk members, and I said this note to Just Jerk during the Mega Crew Challenge, so it doesn't surprise me if they are affiliated or Team What's Up, whatever, if they're with them. This is the note to the choreographers. We gotta do better about working on your basket runs. I'm still gonna talk about it because that's the third time we saw it in about a minute. And it's taking away every single time. This feels more like a crew choreography. It doesn't feel like a concept for the group. Like the concept feels very predictable in their choices, and it doesn't feel deep. Like it feels like I'm watching a mega crew, but an average execution mega crew. And that has nothing to do with 8-turn. I'm talking to the choreographers on that. So take with that what you wish. But I like the melts on that. Like there's some really dope moments on this. This is cool. And I like the feature on that is cool. And then you have another different, you know, different dynamics in play with them more spaced out, which is really nice. Boom, boom, boom. Good speed changes on this too. And I like the motion of that. And I like how we're creating some depth to it as well. The piano is cool. So I like the spherical hovering. And of course you have this little overlap with the hands. We saw that with UNITE. So it's a really cool explored concept, but it looks different here, right? So the stability check on that's cool. So the reach is nice. And then he has his moment, cool. Little na-na. Nice. The drop down is cool. Go down and up. They go up, and then you have, of course, da-na-na, feels unified. We hate corruption, or yeah, you know, or we hate, you know, confining to whatever standards you have of us. I totally see that. We vibe with it. I stand by the concept every time, but there is always ways that you can do it where it feels refreshing, and this doesn't feel quite that. It feels like a mix of other people's concepts that we've already seen done, which is a big note to not 8-turn, but to those affiliated. Take the arms up, cool, the rotation, the bring to the back, that da-da-da-da, the day, I like that, with a pot of beret on that. The run is nice, and then of course you have everybody framed out. We don't have enough levels represented either, so we have a lot of like same level representation. Yes, we had that moment with the dancers with the drop, but because our outfits are similar in color palette, you need other elements to differentiate your members from your dancers. And outside of the little masks and outside of, you know, a couple of the basket runs and the levels, there's really not a ton. I feel that's a big element there to keep in mind. The reach is cool, dropping down. Now, are they still wanting it to look like we're still, you know, a same group dancers and them, and they haven't broken out yet? Yeah, we'll probably chalk it up to that too. One of our dancers is off on rotation. That's my note to him there. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da. There's your little mic. Cool. Yeah, oh, so I like that. I do feel like this is different, right? But then look, you have your dancers on the outside circle, and then you have your members in the center. So that's a note that I'll give this. It feels very similar to, it reminds me of, it was the cat themed one, Purr. It was the dance performance one from Queendom 2. Huge note I gave that when it felt like we just had our core members here in the middle and the dancers framing on the outside. We can do so much more than that. If you've watched Kingdom, you know we can do so much more than that. If you've seen Queendom, we can do so much more. That's a big note there. To the choreographers, I mean, I like the fact that we're adding numbers to the line of this. It just feels like a mega crew. Come on, come on. It's nice and clean. I like that. And like that part. Da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Content is sick. Love the content. Can't appreciate it as much because of how it's packaged. Yeah, 2 to 1. I love that little gimmick. That was cool. The throw was nice. Pass the mic. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. Nice. And this part right here. Dun, 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 dun. We're hitting that. Ta, 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 ta. That's hard to hit, and they're hitting it. We love it. And I like the transition, but it wasn't clean establishing what was our final point before we branched off into these 2 columns. So that's my line there. And then look, we still have our members in center, and then we have our other guys on the outside framing outside, marching. It's just more condensed than what we already saw. So there's that. They hit it up. Da, da, da. That was cool. They set it up, pass the mic. Oh, guess what? We have a costume change now. I appreciate that over what we were seeing before. And then look, we're still basket running off. Whew, and then right here, we have a little setup in the back, so that's cool. And the kick was nice, and then he set it down. So you have your dancer with the mic. I like the little grab. And so that was cool. That was a really interesting costume change. Wasn't expecting it at all. It was cool. Didn't know how he did it. That, to me, is an A+ costume change. He goes forward, cool, and then you have 2 dancers come in. I see the dancers pick up the clothes. You mean, sometimes you got to pick your battles on that, but look what they're doing. The push and the pull, so like a little accent there with the 2 dancers, and then front, back, and up. Cool, that's fine. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da. Dancers aren't clean. That'll be my note there. The hit. So they're syncopating predictably now. Because we've already established some really cool complex choices and how we're syncopating. We're still entertaining those same choices with the type of textures and how you're building up and tearing down your sequences. So that's a note. This is a lot of really big notes to the choreography. But I like the choreo, don't get me wrong. But remember, this is a competition, and as an adjudicator, I have a history adjudicating crew competition choreo. And not only that, this is a performance where it's about the idols, and so we're here living it. I would say both groups are cool, and they're living it up, and we love it. But to me, I am in the position where I'm gonna be honest, and I'm going to say, I'm trying to find as many constructive things as possible for the longevity of the success of the group, or to see our benchmark, or to see what went wrong, what went right, what is a really cool thing, or what's something that needs to change so this doesn't feel like we're just spinning on a hamster wheel doing the same things over and over again, or why maybe you would have lost or won. I want to be a nook and cranny kind of digger for people. So if a crew, if they lose or win, I can at least give 15 examples of what you could have done in different ways that could have led to a different result, you know? And that's, anyway, no one has to listen to me. We're just here having a good time, but also, you know, I care about dance and I care about the success of a group. And so I want to try to understand these things with you. But yeah, I really don't think like the hitting that boom, 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 we're hitting that the same way, just a different breakdown than what we already hit earlier. So that didn't feel iconic. It didn't feel, you know, new. It didn't feel repackaged. It just felt like choreography that we've already seen, but now there's just 2 people doing it. We hit it over. This right here, just adding 2 people in, having them frame just standard like this, doesn't feel as impactful as it needs to. You're asking a lot of him to hold the space down for this long with just 4 dancers. And with just a simple on that, like that was a cool moment. The kick was cool, nice hit, and the drop down was cool. The slides were nice, and then we have the chairs, and I see them set up the chairs and the props. I at least appreciate the fact that we have some really cool stuff going on and the quickness of it. I appreciate that. Day 1, and then you still see people running. You know, the illusion's gone. So that's a big note there. So we have this moment right here. It's cool. So this feels, I don't know if we're supposed to be in a daze or what. This doesn't convince me at all when he's there. What are we trying to do? And I know, are we trying to force our way through the shields? Is what it looks like. But my guy up here, I don't know why we have him in upper level like that. Having him go, whoa, drop down and then coming right back up. Maybe for level justification, it feels like a mega crew that we're trying to qualify on HHI circuit is what it feels like. And I don't think it would qualify, in my humble opinion. It wouldn't go past prelims, firstly, because of the amount of props that you have. Secondly, it would, because you're the style justification. And thirdly, it's how you're choosing to go about your formation structures are not as developed as you would want them to be. Is this an HHI stage? No, it's not. But I will say how this choreo is structured is more for a crew competition, not a K-pop idol performance. And that's my big note I'm giving this. So I'll see the drop in. I like the transition on that. Looks really cool. They hit it through. I like the throws on that, and I like the switch up going on in the shields. We're here for that. The turn is really nice. Drop down, up. Cool. Every time I say turn and it's a turn, I like chuckle in my head, and then I feel like I have to chuckle in real life because that's what I'm thinking about when I move on from that, from every time I say it. That's cool. Costume change is really cool. Rotation is nice. Honestly, going at that rate's really impressive. It's really hard to hit all of those sounds, and he did very well. You have your shields, framing really cool. Now we have another dance break. It's cool. I know they're known for their dancing. We love it. But once again, just feels like crew choreo, and then you have your dancers environmentally like catering to it. Rule breaker. It doesn't feel like we're breaking any rules. It feels like you're doing just what crews are normally used to doing in the scene. And so it actually kind of feels the opposite to me. The setup on the shields are cool. I like the little shing. Then the setup there is cool. I like the little surprise moment from him. And then right there, they are running around in the back. Okay. You're not distracting me from the fact that I just saw you run to the back to reset from this moment right here. Maybe your camera, but not me in the audience. That's all I'm seeing is you're transitioning to the back. And then right there, was he trying to be combative on the shield? That's what it feels like. They go back in and he's trying to punch and push over, and then they all basket run away. Shocker. So this is the original choreo. It's cool. They do the choreo very well. Oh, that's the original choreo, which is fine. And then they boom. I like the little hit down. The heel twist is nice. Pass the mic. Did we ever pass the mic? We had a mic, but did we ever pass it to each member? That would have been really cool. Instead of having one member, now here's the thing, gears are turning. Instead of having just one member carry it that long, you should have literally had the mic being passed in that section so you delegate the responsibility to multiple performers. I'm not saying one person can't hold it down. We've seen that many times. I also haven't seen the aces yet in any of this, and that's going to come into play too in the future episodes. But that, I think, would be a big note that I feel like we've kind of made a hole in our concept is passing the mic. We had the mic. Where is it? We could still have it. We could be passing it. Yeah, I think that's something I didn't even realize until just now because they said literally pass the mic. I don't see you passing it, but you literally have one. Yeah, we still don't have it. Okay, that's fine. Boom, 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 boom. Once again, still a lot of choreo. One of our dancers was off right there. When you're really clean, the members are doing a great job cleaning and clean. Some of the dancers are not holding it down on like staying clean. Drop, drop, drop. Cool. Just a little bleed is nice. Come on, come on. We're here for it. That's nice. A little punch. pass the mic, pass the mic. Yeah, punch, punch, punch right there on the bases, but predictable, nice and firm, powerful on the bases. You know, nothing crazy. Yeah, boom, hey, the line, dun, 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 dun. How they're syncopated is really cool. Then we're bringing these banners closer. What were the point of them? Great question. We have the mic right up here. I wish we would have had it utilized in that way when we're literally saying pass the mic, but we don't. Okay, but I see the illusion. We have the mic. It would have been cool. Have the moment in the chorus where you have it being passed and then it disappears and then it reappears. You know, I feel like we've kind of not had this mic for a bit too long. And it was just cool. And honestly, too, because we have the mic in the back. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. No. Yeah, pass the mic. Cool. Doing choreo. Once again, just doing choreo. And he travels it up. We turn it past the mic. If you didn't understand it before, it's literally spelled out for you. He grabs it. It feels very laborious trying to get your balance, and maybe him having black shoes could have been easier to cover that up. But because he's in white shoes, my eyes are drawn to his feet because everything else is black. And the fact that he is struggling to be stable, that's all I am thinking about versus him grabbing the mic. And then he turns, he hits it, and then he disappears. That's cool. And then we see our other guys reappear. Cool, we're here for it, and then they all reset. They should have, I feel like they could have stayed down and it would have been not taking away from our front. So I find this interesting. It feels like we're taking a step backwards. They had a fantastic intro. I stand by this. 8-Turn had one of the best intro stages I have seen in the entire franchise of the shows. But this, unfortunately, is a bit underwhelming. So I would say it's going to come down to a mix of preference. Do you care more about your storyline being streamlined? Unite, they had some holes in it. But for me, when it comes to format of a performance, I feel we were focusing on the wrong elements and we were prioritizing the wrong things for this performance. And I think on both ends, they did the best they could on the types of tracks that they did. They picked really good options considering. And because this one's a really good one for 8-Turn, I just don't think that how it was structured set them up for success on a challenge stage for an audience. And that's my hot take. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. So in all honesty, I have no idea how these videos are going to be formatted for YouTube. I don't know if I get to keep it all in one or if I have to splice them up into individual analysis, but I hope to hear from you, especially if you are a fan of any group that I did an analysis on. I want to know what your thoughts were when you watched it, how you watched the competitors, what are your notes? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to hear from you because I'm not always 100% sold on my own perspective, especially when there's other background information that's going to allow me to see it in a light that's going to be more effective to how the live audience felt. And remember, these are my own opinions based on my particular scope in the dance scene, and so I'm not going to be right really a lot of times. It's just my feedback, and I just want to be somebody that is helpful not just to the fan bases to better understand what people could be looking for, but also to the group. So if you know of any group that is a part of this and you're able to give them access to this, I want the groups to, in the teams and the choreographers, to get these analysis if you find that these would be helpful for them, because this was made for everyone, including myself. I love getting to look at material and getting to celebrate the art of dance, and I think everybody's done a great job so far. You guys know me, I know you. I am Jess. I'm excited for the episode watch. You can head over to Patreon to be a part of the group chat that helps dive in. You don't have to pay to be a part of it, and you can get access to the episode there if you would like, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.